Friday workshop!
Hey Dad, I have a question. Do you really need a table saw?
Let's find out! What is a table saw? A table saw is a table with a saw in it. What? That's what a table saw is. And so this is our table saw, and we have never used it. So it kind of immediately answers the question if you need one, right? You don't need one. We have other tools that do a lot of the same cuts as this table saw has. A friend of ours gave us this table saw. I replaced the cord in it, and we just haven't used it yet. It doesn't have a riving knife, and table saws scare me. This is a bandsaw. A bandsaw makes pretty much every cut that a table saw makes, plus extra. So we like our bandsaw. It does rip cuts and cross cuts like a table saw does, but it also can do resawing. And our bandsaw goes up to 12 inches. I can lift this way up here and we can resaw entire full logs on this thing. And then a bandsaw also does curved cuts, which a table saw doesn't do. This blade right here goes down instead of up like the table saw. So it's a little bit safer than the table saw as far as like cutting. You'll cut into your finger, but it's less likely that you'll actually amputate a finger. Now with all power tools, you gotta be careful. But a bandsaw is typically known in the woodworking community as being a safer type of tool. This is a miter saw. It's also known as a chop saw. A miter saw is pretty awesome for making quick chopping motions that are really quick with boards. We set up a whole miter saw station here that we use with our miter saw. And our miter saw is one of our most used tools. We kind of use this on boards instead of a table saw. While it doesn't work on long sheets of plywood, you can buy other types of miter saws that can extend out for longer cuts, which we eventually will probably upgrade to. But we love our miter saw. This is a circular saw. A circular saw is also a pretty dangerous piece of equipment, but when we cut, we do different safety things to make it a little safer. We either cut on the ground on a piece of foam, or we'll cut on boards and lock everything down real tight. This is what we use for cutting larger sheet goods like plywood for long cuts. We'll use a straight edge and one of these guys. This is a jigsaw. A jigsaw does really well with inner circles. Cutting out circles, it does a great job with that. We use our bandsaw for cutting like the outside of circles. Our jigsaw we use for cutting a lot of the inside of circles. A jigsaw is amazing. The other type of saw that you would use for curved cuts like that would be like a scroll saw. We don't own a scroll saw, but we'd love to have one. So that's probably on the next tool on our list as well. So this is a good one. It doesn't quite replace a table saw, but it's also really good for cutting, and it can do a lot of the same cuts a table saw can do. You just have to be careful with a guide. This is what scares me about a table saw. Is this particular saw does not have what's called a riving knife on the back of it. It can come with one, but since we got it used and the guy threw it away, we don't have one. Big reason why we don't use this. We see a lot of people cutting entire fingers off of this thing because it will draw when you curve this way and you get on the back side of this and this blade is moving forward. If this piece twists, this whole piece catches and goes forward. And a lot of the problems when you do that, it'll draw your fingers into the blade itself, which is really scary. And then another thing is you'll see pieces of wood shot out at high speeds. You'll see a lot of people with bruises and that sort of thing. They have table saws that won't do, that will drop down whenever they sense a human contact electrical signal. Saw stop is the most famous type of that. These just scare the heck out of us. So we don't use them because they're less safe. If we were to get a saw stop, or if Saw Stop wants to sponsor us, or if anybody does, we would happily use a table saw. But since I've got kids in the shop, this scares me, and we probably won't use a table saw anytime in the near future. So, we've made hundreds of projects, and we have not used a table saw in any one of our videos. It's not necessary. You can use them if you have the tools or whatever, but we've just found a way around the table saw because it scares us.
And if you like informational videos like these, check out this one.